to SVG-TV News for Wednesday, February 18, 2025. I am Rochelle Batiste. Civil society organizations today participated in a one-day consultation on the country's national debt. The event aims to produce recommendations that can be utilized in future national and regional advocacy activities related to the country's debt. The consultation, organized by the Caribbean Policy Development Center, the CPDC, with support from the Open Society Foundations and the Center for Global Development, is also part of an effort to raise awareness about the impact of increasing sovereign debt. At the opening of the consultation, Project Officer, the Caribbean Policy Development Center, Nerissa Macrae Williams, emphasized the importance of mobilizing civil society organizations and communities to play a more active role in collaborating on the sovereign debt campaign. The project officer highlighted several key areas to be discussed, including how debt could impact the people of the country.
Looking at high prices, we may be looking at the economic development going down. We may be looking at the fact that our services across the region may be deteriorating. Our roads filled with holes. Our buildings just not looking the greatest as they can be. And that is because our government keeps on borrowing. And then as a result of that, that leads to us having to service our debts. And because we're servicing those debts, we don't have the finances that we need to continue to grow our region. And as a result of that, we have to go back to borrow. So today is hoping to enlighten you, to open up your perspectives on how these issues impact you as a sector, impact your people, impact your daily living, and just to ensure that whatever is discussed here goes back to those spaces when we represent you at the IMF, when we represent you at COP30, looking at climate change, looking at climate events, just looking at all these different issues.
More than 21 organizations participated in the consultation. Representing the network of NGOs, Volunteer Director Jeannie Oliver welcomed the initiative.
That when whatever you learn here today, that you're just going through one ear and come through the other, but that we take action at our local level. That means the organization that we represent here, as well within our communities and nationally, to share the information that is gathered. Please, let us not make it a talk shop, but let us assimilate and let us take action at the local and national levels afterwards so that we can share, we can continue to educate not only ourselves, but the group that we represent here, the organizations that we represent.
Economics lecturer at the University of the West Indies, Melinda Maharaj, emphasized the need for meaningful public involvement when budgets are being crafted. She also stressed the importance of informing the people about what to expect from the budget.
What some of the questions are, and if you want to, possibly assess what you know and what you're familiar with in terms of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we can take a look at some of the questions so you have an idea of what goes into the actual assessment of the national budget. So if we look at the actual documents, for example, so I'm just scrolling down so you have an idea. We look at 8 documents. So as you would recognize, it's not just the executive budget proposal that is going to be considered. There are documents that are actually considered called a pre-budget statement, the enacted budget, a citizen's budget, and then there are various others in terms of the in-year reports, mid-year reviews, year-end reports, and audit reports.
Other speakers at today's consultation included Senior Economic Policy Advisor at the Caribbean Policy Development Center, Jawala Rambaran, and Dwight Fitz-Bramble, economist and foreign relations expert from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The government is seeking a public-private partnership which may possibly involve a cruise line company to develop the real estate that will be left behind when the modern port facility in capital Kingston becomes operational. And this was noted by Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, who spoke on radio today. He explained that the idea is to create additional cruise ship facilities along with a marina and other amenities on the site where the current port is located.
There's an indicative interest, but the devil is usually in the details. Johnny P. And we're in early stages of this, but I told them in biblical terms, I made the allusion, I said, I want to get this thing together, and I want to put in place a final phase on the port development down in the western area by moving the Grenadines ferry berth to the west of the modern port. That's a much smaller project, obviously. So you have the whole space there, from the cruise ship berth right down to the finance complex area. For development, it's a fantastic piece of real estate. And the tunnel under Cane Garden Point would be obviously another phase. And as we are doing the city, with this beautiful $100 million US, nearly $300 million acute care hospital. So I told them, as the story is told in the Book of Chronicles, I said, I, like David, I'd like to do the planning of it, get the materials, organize the labor and everybody who wants to be involved, and then leave it to the young Solomons, not just one Solomon, the young Solomons, in the government, young men and women, metaphorically Solomons, to build again metaphorically the temple to house the Ark of the Covenant.
Regarding housing, the Prime Minister stated that he held an extensive discussion with all relevant stakeholders in the state administration on Monday. He also noted that a special committee has been set up to address a new housing program separate from existing initiatives.
Because as I had pointed out to the cabinet, I see that there are many young professionals who are finding it difficult to access housing reasonably. We have a good program for people whose houses were destroyed, housing for the poor, working people. But that section of the working people, young professionals, even though they can go, Johnny P, in the state administration, you can get 100% mortgage, no down payment. And people have availed themselves of that opportunity. And because of the fantastic program in housing we have done, we have moved from 2001, 30,000 houses to close to 48,000 houses. That's the estimate at the moment when you judge from the numbers which are electricity and water connections now. And the number 30,000 would have been, just under 30,000 would have been the census number in 2001. And because the census has been delayed because of COVID and the volcanic eruptions, you have to use approximate numbers. And we have done a fantastic job with housing. Numbers have increased. The population is basically flat. If you have 17, 18,000 more houses since 2001 and better quality housing too, clearly there's been a success. But the success brings additional challenges for new persons who want to get houses. So that though the existing framework is helpful, you need to try to alter it to make it even better.
The Prime Minister further noted that with available land for housing becoming scarce, the government is exploring the idea of building condominiums as a solution.
Since you don't have enough land, you go up in the air rather than out. So you do 3-story buildings, maybe 4-story buildings, I don't know. And the state could get involved with the private sector. We, for instance, have a piece of land which we bought from the Catholic Church where they were going to build a school down in Pembroke. I think it's about 6 acres of land, if I recall correctly. I think maybe an acre, 2 acres given for a nursery at the moment. But we can involve ourselves with a private sector entity, a developer. And naturally, you buy a unit. But if you're going to buy the unit, you have to make sure you have the legal framework. So there's a Condominium Act on the book, a law dealing with condominiums on the books. But it's something from the 70s. You're going to need to revamp that completely, modernize that. So you require legal work like that to be done. So you can see, therefore, the AG involved. And we have to look at the Rent Act also. Chief Surveyor have to identify some lands. At the gathering, I had the Bank of St. Vincent there, The CEO came. Derek came because I wanted him to see what would be the appetite for this sort of thing. And there's great appetite for it. And then the Director General of Finance and Planning is looking at the existing fiscal incentives, the existing concessions, to see if we can move the needle on those a little bit to help. Obviously, it touches on issue like physical planning questions. If you're going up 3-4 stories, you have to deal with the fire service because you have to have the equipment.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Gonzalez left the state this afternoon to attend the CARICOM Heads of Government meeting in Barbados. The Prime Minister's delegation includes Minister of Foreign Affairs Frederick Stevenson, CARICOM Ambassador Alan Alexander, Senator Shaquille Bob, Press Officer Chevril Macmillan, and Security Officer Kendall Horn. They are expected to return to the state on Friday evening. The 48th regular meeting of the CARICOM Heads will be held under the theme Strength and Unity, Forging Caribbean Resilience, Inclusive Growth and Sustainable Development. Government ministers have engaged cruise line officials as several initiatives are being explored to boost tourism in the country. On the radio last evening, Finance Minister Camila Gonzalez, who was part of the meeting at the Prime Minister's residence, disclosed that at least 4 cruise line representatives were in attendance, including those from the Florida Cruise Association.
That tourism is taking off massively in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and cruise tourism is playing a big part in the growth of tourism. And so we had to meet with officials from the Florida Cruise Association, officials from Carnival Cruise Lines, MCL Cruise Lines, Norwegian, and other cruise lines to exchange views and see what we can do to grow the cruise industry in a collaborative manner, so that it's not just benefiting the cruise ships, it's not just benefiting the government, but that it is benefiting the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and that the visitors who come to St. Vincent and the Grenadines have a good time and a safe experience when they come here.
The finance minister noted that he is seeking additional support from a foreign investor to assist with recovery efforts following Hurricane Beryl. He emphasized, however, that discussions are still in the early stages.
To support tourism in St. Vincent and the Grenadines with a major investor. Can't talk about that right now any more than that, other than to say that I'll be up very early with this investor. And tonight, I will be on a phone call, tonight my time, but daytime in the east, late tonight our time, but mid-morning in the Far East to discuss some additional support for St. Vincent and the Grenadines after in the wake of Hurricane Beryl.
A flea infestation has once again forced the closure of the Girls High School today. The school is located in a temporary building on the decommissioned E.T. Joshua Airport tarmac at Annisville. President of the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Teachers Union, Oswald Robinson, is once again calling on the authorities to address the issue, which he says continues to disrupt instructional time for both students and teachers at the school.
The St. Vincent and the Grenadines Teachers Union expresses great disappointment that the St. Vincent Girls High School has to be closed again as a result of infestation of fleas. I am urging the Ministry of Education and also the Ministry of Health and any other ministries to really make a concerted effort to bring this matter under proper management and control. It is very disheartening that schools have to be disrupted and so frequently, and it means a loss of instructional time for the students. It's additional pressures on our teachers to make up for the loss of time.
Robinson emphasized that urgent measures must be taken to deal with the flea infestation on the school compound. He expressed concern over the ongoing impact this problem has on the learning environment, stressing the need for a swift resolution.
This should really allow the authorities to see the importance of expediting the process of construction of the girls' high school so that people could return back, because it's very unfair to the students, the teachers, and the parents. And the teachers union is calling on the authorities to do the honorable thing and take extra precautionary measures to mitigate the impact of the infestation of fleas there.
Meanwhile, the Teachers Union president also highlighted that students and teachers at the Canawan Government School are still grappling with the issue of a water shortage. Robinson called for immediate attention to this matter, noting that it continues to affect the daily operations of the school.
At the Canawan Government School, even though they would have erected 3 water tanks there, those water is not portable, it's not for drinking. That's desalinated water, so the school is still without drinking water, right? And I hope that the Ministry of Education would address this matter urgently, because there's a tendency when people have to close schools for these reasons, there's a tendency that authorities want to get back to these persons, and it's something the union is very much concerned about, because you cannot operate schools in an unsafe and unhealthy environment. And those people in authority need to get the act together and do the honorable thing.
Several efforts have been made by SVG-TV News to obtain a response from the Ministry of Education on both matters, but to no avail. On Friday, February 28, 2025, students who sat the 2024 examinations for their CSEC CAPE and associate degrees will be presented with a $500 gift award for commendable performance. To be eligible for the award, CSEC students must have gained 5 passes, grades 1, 2, 3, including mathematics and English A. CAPE students must have gained passes in grades 1 to 5 in at least two Unit 2 subjects, as well as in the single unit communication studies or Caribbean studies in 2 consecutive years. Students in the various associate degree programs must have obtained at least a B average. Teacher education program requires a GPA of at least 2.75. The total number of recipients is 701, categorized in the following manner: CSEC 356K 170, associate degrees 175. Of the recipients who gain associate degrees and are identified to receive the award from the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Community College, 52 from the Division of Arts, Sciences and General Studies, and 62 from the Division of Technical and Vocational Education, 56 from the Division of Teacher Education, and 5 from the Division of Nursing. Recipients of the award are asked to present themselves at the Villa campus of the SVG Community College at 9 a.m. on February 28th with proof of identity bearing a photograph. In other local news now, we hear that the Youthful Honey Project was launched yesterday in Belmont by the Seventh-day Adventist Church of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The project, which is valued at $50,000 from the Republic Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, will see many young people actively involved in its development. President of the SVG Mission of Seventh-day Adventists, Pastor Henry Snag, stated that he envisions the project as one that will transform lives and by extension the community and the country.
This Youthful Honey Project, and we have said that many times for the afternoon, so that's the kind of repetition. But I'm pleased to be associated with it, and like there's so many who have gone before, I am confident that this is a project that will bring great dividends and really redound to the honor and glory of God and the blessing of our society. 50,000, that's quite a significant sum. So we thank Republic Bank, St. Vincent Limited, for your meaningful contribution. And then of course we must thank all the administrators, the directors who would have come in to share with us in this wonderful experience. And my prayer and the wish as team leader in SVG is that God will continue to bless all of us.
Youth Director of the Inter-American Division of Seventh-day Adventists, Pastor Al Powell, acknowledged a significant leap of faith taken by the youth in this country to venture into APRI production.
When I listen to the words that has been mentioned, innovation, empowerment of the youth, dealing with at-risk youth, the skills to be developed, management, growth, and sustainability. And I hear all that is taking place. I must commend each party and the stakeholders for the vision and the cast of what is taking place now and what will continue to take place within the near future. I thank the administrators, our youth director, the government, the bank that gives back to the community. I thank you all.
2 officers serving with the Royal St. Vincent and Grenadines Police Force returned home after successfully completing an advanced level 5 police science course and leadership skills program at the Officer Academy in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates, the UAE. Police Constable PC 353 Roxkel Combs of the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force and able-bodied seaman AB-90 Desron Andrews of the SVG Coast Guard undertook the 4-month-long intensive training from October 14 to February 4, 2025 as part of the IACP UAE Ministry of Interior Policy Academy Exchange Program. The program gathered 75 officers, including representatives from 6 Caribbean nations, namely Antigua, Grenada, Suriname, Trinidad and Tobago, St. Kitts and Nevis, alongside law enforcement professionals from several international policing agencies and the UAE. The curriculum was structured to enhance physical endurance, operational effectiveness, and leadership acumen. The officers participated in the combination of physical and academic training designed to simulate real-world policing challenges, physical training, daily fitness routines, endurance exercise, riot control drills, matching and drill training, and practical field exercises. Academic studies include community policing strategies, crisis management, criminal investigations, forensic analysis, crime scene management, and international police cooperation. A news release from the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force says Commissioner of Police Enville Williams, along with the rank and file of the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force, formally recognizes P.C. Coombs and A.B. Andrews for their commitment to professional development and their success in completing the demanding program. The release further notes that their participation and achievement underscores the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force dedication to continuous training and operational excellence.